Hell, I've got no good reason to wait until 5, just because that's when I said it would start. Hi, guys. How are you? Hope you're well. This is Monkey in the Morning. I am Monk. It's a day. I think it's a Monday. Jack won't be here tonight, guys. He's got personal stuff going on. So he'll be back later, but not today. He's got a link in case, things change, but it's just me. You guys are stuck with not Jack today. Sorry about that. How it goes sometimes. Oh boy, I'm actually happy to do today's show. I'm always happy, but I get to shit on the press, and oh dear God, is that my favorite thing. Love to Lady Monkey and her mom. Yeah, her mom's surgery went well. Longer than expected, not the surgery, but the recovery time. They had an hour drive back from the doctor, and after the surgery, they wait 4 to 6 hours to make sure there's no bleeding or anything. And since she had such a long drive back, they waited the full 6 hours. And poor Lady Monkey doesn't sleep well in hotels, so she didn't get much sleep anyway. But yeah, everything went well, and everybody's back home and recovering. So appreciate the kind words for her. Anyway, so yeah, I was peeing. Thanks for sharing. Look, I was just explaining to you why I missed the links, man. I like to explain things. That's what I'm an explainer. I'm going to explain. We're also going to talk about the Walmart thing, and we're going to do that first because God knows how long the video is going to take me to get through. It's only a 10-minute video for shitting on the press. Excuse me. But the other thing I brought is the Walmart thing. The Walmart thing was going to be the head story. I just want to be clear here. I worked at Walmart for a decade, and the thing everybody's praising, like, look, even Walmart is doing this. Don't get your hopes up. It's Walmart, and I know their corporate speak bullshit. I've been around, y'all. I've been around. And Robbie Starbuck here, props to him. He's been going after companies for their DEI bullshit, which is racist and sexist. Let's not forget that. But he got Walmart to, I'm using air quotes, back down from DEI. There's 2 things Walmart doesn't like. Three, high prices. Sure. But no, the other 2 are bad media and lawsuits. And that's what's really going on here. So Robbie says, massive news. Walmart is ending their woke policies. I can now exclusively tell you what's changing and how it happened. Last week, I told the execs at Walmart that I was doing a story on wokeness there. Instead, we had a productive conversation to find solutions. See what I mean? We have a threat of a bad story. We're going to get negative publicity and shoplifters. Walmart hates shoplifters, sure, but you know what they hate more than shoplifters? Employees who steal. They will be nicer to an outsider who steals than an insider who steals. And I get it because that's disloyalty and on top of theft. But anyway, below are the changes Walmart committed to. I have to give their executives major credit because this will send shockwaves throughout corporate America. This is the biggest win yet for our movement to end wokeness in corporate media. Here are the changes Walmart committed to. All right. Again, don't give them too much credit. They are afraid of your story and the inevitable lawsuits that DEI is bringing. We've already seen DEI used in lawsuits, and companies have gotten in trouble for it. And so a lot of them are abandoning it. If they could win in the courts, they would have told Robbie to go pee up a rope, because the overall media cares more about preserving DEI than they do about the inherent racism and sexism of it. So don't give them too much credit, okay? I know these people. They're bad people. If they weren't bad people, you wouldn't have had to have this conversation with them, okay? All right, so here's the things. Surveys. Walmart will no longer participate in Hillary Rodham Clinton's woke corporate equality index, which is good. I agree with the things they want to do here. But again, I don't think they're doing it for the right reason. I don't think that this is going to stop what they're actually doing. they're just saying it like, hey, we're not going to do that anymore. We'll keep our own internal polling. Do you remember how upset the entirety of media got when Google laid out, hey, we want to hire X percentage of black people to work here? No, because nobody got mad about that. They're like, yeah, well, what you got to do is make sure that there's X number of black people. That's equality. No, that's racist. Because you're still basing it on race, you fucking assholes. Why is this so hard? Why is it so hard to understand that giving preference based on race or objecting based on race is racist? It's in the fucking name. Race, you fucking idiots. Products. Monitor the Walmart marketplace to identify and remove inappropriate sexual and or transgender products marketed to children. See what I mean about them being bad people? They have to start monitoring to make sure they don't have inappropriate sexual content for kids. If they were good people, this would not need to be a correction they're making. It would be part of the corporate thing. But again, nobody gives a shit. Look at the backlash that came over the Target thing where they had the bathing suits to hide your junk for little kids. Remember that? They got the tuck pouch for little boys. Remember the media getting all mad about, oh, no, they got mad about people being mad about Target having that. Right. Funding of grants. Review all funding of Pride and other events to avoid funding inappropriate sexualized content targeting children. See above about them not being good people. Why would you not already know whether or not your grants are funding sexualized events for kids? And again, we're just reviewing it, and they get to decide whether or not, right? It's not like an outside group is going to look at this. Walmart gets to look at it and go, hey, that drag queen story hour we're paying for. This is a hypothetical. I don't know which grants they've given. But hey, that's not sexualized for kids just because occasionally somebody's dick falls out in front of 5-year-olds. Equity. This is one of my favorites. We will not extend the Racial Equity Center, which was established in 2020 as a special 5-year initiative. So once again, we have, why are you bad people? And note, this is one of my favorites because we're not going to extend it. We're going to take the program we already had and just let it end in 2025 when it's scheduled to. Well, that still goes on for another year. I don't know if y'all caught that. They didn't say they're going to end it. They said they're not going to renew it. So in 2025, they will come up with some new acronym like, we're totally not racist, but we have to decide things based on race. I don't know what that acronym would be for that, but that's what they would do. They're just going to rebrand this shit. You guys know that, right? Killing DEI is not killing DEI. DEI is just a rebranding of affirmative action. It's the same shit. We're going to give preferences based on sex and race and homosexuality and trans. I live in a very small area. It's amazing how many blue-haired guys wearing dresses work at my local Walmart. That's some shit you would expect to see in cities or at least big suburbs. No. I live in the middle of fucking nowhere, and there's tons of them. Tons of them. Why? Because this shit is pushed. Supplier diversity. We will evaluate supplier diversity programs and ensure they do not provide preferential treatment and benefits to suppliers based on diversity. I feel like I need to read that again. It's called Bridge. They're changing it from being a DEI department to making it the culture, and it's everybody's job to police it. Yeah, exactly. They're not. Look, I worked there, and we went through this with sustainability. Y'all know what sustainability is, right? Environmental bullshit. They named it sustainability to make it sound like you were actually doing something other than playing in trash and pretending I'm separating it to save the planet. It was nonsense. I'm all for reducing waste. That's a great thing. But the whole push, Walmart will do any liberal. Walmart is a very liberal company. The members of the board or the Walmart family might be conservative, but the company itself is not. They are very liberal and have been for a long time, since about the time Sam died. But we will evaluate supplier diversity programs and ensure they do not provide preferential treatment and benefits to suppliers based on diversity. How do you even have a diversity program if you are not giving preferential treatment based on diversity? What this should say is we are canceling supplier diversity programs. But this is the corporate speak they use. I know these dirty little shitbags. We don't have quotas and won't going forward. Financial eligibility will no longer be predicated on providing certain demographic data. Let's back that up. We don't have quotas. Financing eligibility will no longer be predicated on providing demographic data. Oh, fuck. That's a whole lot of bullshit in just one bullet point. Yes, we're totally doing this, but we're not doing it. But we're not going to do it anymore. And they still don't even say they won't do it. They're still going to do it. They're still going to have a supplier diversity program. Well, what are you going to do? How do you have a supplier diversity program that's not, predicated on diversity? That makes no goddamn sense. Latinx. Walmart will no longer use the term in official communications. Good. It's insulting to Latino people. You can't sexualize the word. It's a gendered language, okay? Not most, a lot of the Latin spinoffs are gendered. Not to be confused with Latino, never mind. Training. Walmart will discontinue racial equity training through the Racial Equity Institute. Remember, that's not closing down until 2025. They still got a whole another year of it. They're going to discontinue the training. So they're just going to have the department without doing anything. Honestly, that does kind of sound like Walmart. Walmart will discontinue racial equity training through the Racial Equity Institute. I hear you. I hear you. But again, it doesn't shut down for a whole nother year, and it's scheduled to shut down anyway. So no offense to Robbie here, but this isn't the win you think it is. One, if anything, this is more dangerous because they're just going to find a new way, and it'll take half a decade before people catch on to whatever bridge is or whatever nonsense they come up with next. What else are they going to replace it with? Exactly, Dark. DEI. Walmart will discontinue the use of DEI as a term while ensuring a respectful and supportive environment. Our focus is on belonging for all associates and customers. Oh, fuck. This is another one. It's like the one with Latinx. We're not going to say it in official communications. They committed to stopping to use the term. They're still going to fucking do it. DEI was just a Trojan horse. Bridge as the soldiers have infiltrated the city. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to put this genie back in the bottle. But look, no, faithless exactly sounds like placation. It's exactly what it is. It's like, please don't be mean to us. Please don't be mean to us. We're good people who are racist and sexist for profit. Oh, fuck. Look, I'm glad DEI is going the way of the dodo bird, but it really doesn't matter because they're just going to change it and do the diversity and equity bullshit. Didn't start as DEI. It started way back when with affirmative action. That loses favor, and then we suddenly have political correctness. Then we have our social justice. We have our intersectionality. And we have now to where we're at equity, which, by the way, just a reminder, equity simply means communism. It's great that this is happening ish. But at least, you know what should have really happened, honestly? There should have been many, 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 many more lawsuits brought against these companies for their DEI practices. Anybody who is, and literally anybody, because of the way they word this shit, no matter what your race or sex, you could probably sue a company if you didn't get a job. Because all you got to do is be like, they didn't hire me because I'm black and they had too many black people already and they were trying to get Latinos. Or I'm Asian and they didn't hire me because they have too many Asian. You know, you can do it with anybody. It's not just white people. Because until these companies actually feel it that way, they're not going to stop this shit. Because ideologically, they're in agreement. And that's fucked up. By the way, Fox News did do a story where they reportedly confirmed all of that. They reached out to Walmart and they're like, yes, we're totally going to do that. We're totally going to stop the bullshit. Sure, you are. All right, let's move on to what I really want to talk about because this shit is funny. The meltdown from this dude from Axios. What's his name? Jim Van. I don't fucking know. We'll get to it in a second. So this concerns a guy who is he's the CEO of Axios. And he was at the National Press Club the other day for an awards ceremony. These people love to give themselves some awards, man. They love to pat themselves on the back for how great of work they do. And in fairness, Axios didn't used to be one of the worst. They were clearly left-leaning, but they weren't, MSNBC. But they're now just MSNBC. In fact, he's this little asshole who had his National Press Club meltdown. He's going to be on the show, on not my show, on Morning Joe here on MSNBC. If you want to see the full clip, if you want to see the National Press Club thing, it's I probably should have just brought that up and thrown it into chat. I will. This is my I'm looking for shit thing. It's the Fourth Estate Award Gala 2024. And you can find it on their YouTube channel. It's linked in your chat now. And Rumble, it's linked in your chat now. There's nobody over on Rumble. Huh. I mean, there's people over there. They're just not talking. Why are you guys being so quiet today? Talk. I need the affirmation. Anyway, if you go to watch that over there, he's only on like the last 10 minutes. It's not a very long speech that he gives when he gets his little award. But that's what this was. This was, hey, look how great we are. Go fuck yourself. Anyway, so I was just going to watch his speech until I saw this clip. And MSNBC, you can go over there if you want to watch this full clip without me interrupting it. But I watched this, and as soon as Joe Scarborough starts talking, I'm like, nope, we got to do this one. We got to do the whole thing. Did you see Rachel Maddow crying over Elon memes? No, but send it to me on Twitter. I'd be interested. All right, so here we go.
All right, Jim Van de High. Last week, he's here, right? Yeah,
he's there.
Last week, you were awarded the 2020.
He's here, right? I mean, they have monitors where never mind. This is our press. She's not even sure that the guy on her monitor is actually there.
For Fourth Estate Award by the National Press Club, along with Axios' the great Mike Allen. So congratulations.
That's awesome.
The award recognizes journalists who have made.
They're clapping really loud for this guy who got up and got an award. Yay! See what I mean about it? They love their own accolades, man. I'll get to this. I want to save that analogy for later.
Significant contributions to the industry, and you have, specifically you and Mikey were awarded for your work that has revolutionized how audiences consume news. And we have some of the remarks you made.
For how they've revolutionized how people consume news. You know what they do? They have a website and they post on Twitter. about their stories. How revolutionary. You guys are groundbreaking in 1995. Fuck.
During your acceptance speech, let's listen.
I hate this damn debate about like, oh, we don't need the media. Like, it is not true. Think about what makes this. I love this country. I'm a beneficiary of this country. Like some from Wisconsin who can come and start 2 companies, be up here, win an award, sit next to Mikey. I'm a beneficiary of it. But
I mean, I agree with him that he's a dipshit. And hi guys over there on Rumble. They all say hi now. He's already mad, and he's not even at the part that he's mad about yet. Do you hear how excited he is? Grr, 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 grr.
But there's something about the country. There's something about it, right? There's something about freedom, capitalism, the animal spirits of democracy. But at the core of that is maybe transparency, maybe a free press.
No, you don't need any of those for that. You guys have proved that over and over again. We haven't had a free press in this country in a century or more. For all of the talk about how bad this has gotten, how bad. Walter Cronkite was a biased piece of shit. He really was. He was America's Uncle Walt. No, he was a biased piece of shit. But there was nobody to call him out. And if anybody did, they would just beat him down. How dare you question the great Walter Cronkite? I just want to remind you that when Cronkite goes up there, the Vietnam Wars, it's a quagmire. It was over the I know that's the wrong word. It's not Tiananmen. Fuck. It's over the offensive where the North Vietnamese come in and they push the U.S. back in a surprise attack. And within less than 2 weeks, we had retaken everything and kicked their fucking ass. The quagmire was never that the North Viet Cong or that the Viet Cong and the North Vietnamese, the Tet Offensive, thank you, that they were too strong for the U.S. military. It was always political. That's the quagmire. It had nothing to do with, oh my God, they're just so strong. But that's what Cronkite's bullshit, fucking bullshit about. It just shows how strong they are. Go fuck yourself, you fat dead piece of shit. I'm glad you're dead. I wish I could have been there to see it. Our press has never been unbiased. Never. And most of them are liberal shitbags and have been for at least half a decade. More, actually. Goes back to the 30s and 40s. We could have kicked the ever-loving shit out of the folks in Vietnam if we wanted to. And then when we pulled out, you know what they did in Vietnam when we pulled out to the South Vietnamese? They slaughtered 1 million of them. Slaughtered them. Good job, Uncle Walt. Should we have been involved? No. But once we were committed, we should have finished the job. We should have just went in there and kicked the shit out of them. But we didn't do that. We should have went in there instead of having the bullshit about we're only pushing back to this parallel like we did in Korea. No. We are marching straight into Ho Chi Minh, and if you don't get out of our fucking way, we're gonna kill you. Because that's what you do in war. Anyhow, no, these people have never been good in my lifetime. They're bad people who are there because so many. I'm gonna go ahead and get into my rant about the press. So many of these motherfuckers get into this wanting to be Hoffman and Robert Redford. No. Not Bernstein and Woodward. No. Have you ever seen Woodward and Bernstein? They're two dorky looking motherfuckers, but they get into, and let's be honest, they want to be Robert Redford. Nobody wants to be Dustin Hoffman. They got into this business because they saw all the president's men and they're like, I totally want to be Robert Redford and fix this country and take out people like Nixon. They are fucking activists and always have been because they saw a fucking movie in the 70s and like, I'm totally Robert Redford. My friends don't think I'm sexy because they just can't see it yet. It's such shit. It's what all. Listen to anybody who gets into journalism schools here in America. Ask them, why are you doing this? And their answer is never to tell the truth. I just want to tell the truth. They'll say, I want to hold truth to power, or I want to change the world. I want to advocate for those who don't have a voice. None of that is journalism, for fuck's sake. Or better, none of that is news reporting. It's advocacy. Thank you, Dark Resurrect, for that feminist $12. We should never have been involved in Vietnam. However, since we were, we should have bombed them back to the Stone Age. Let our military fight war, not play politics. 100%, yeah. You don't get into a war to hold ground. You get like, all right, look, you're beating up on these folks and we got to take you out. We didn't stop at Germany's borders in World War II, or we'd still be fighting that shit. You had to go in and remove the cancer. Anyway, hey, Nuts, how you doing, sweetheart? Been a while. Hope you've been well, sweetie. Their answer is always worse than Watergate, regardless. Look, if you want proof of my assertion that all they want is to be Robert Redford, how come every goddamn scandal gets gate attached to the end of it? Watergate was the name of the fucking hotel. It's not like the scandal was water and gate means scandal. So it's like, oh, of course, Watergate, water scandal. No, it's the name of the fucking hotel. But every time there's, oh my God, it's Bookgate, it's Cancergate, it's Smollett Gate. They have a gate for fucking everything because they all want to be Robert Redford. Because they all saw that dumbass movie. And this is what makes them bad at their job, because they all go in there with a fucking objective. And their objective, contrary to what this cunt says, contrary to what this cunt says. Who was it before the show told me not to get in trouble? Sammy, sorry. Their truth is not what they're after. He's going to say something here in a moment. Let me let him finish his rant before I get back into mine.
Maybe the ability to do your job without worrying to go to jail. Maybe the ability.
You didn't say shit about that when Obama threw journalists in jail, fucknut. Maybe that's what we need.
Ability to sit in a war zone and tell people what's actually happening so they're not just looking at distortion matters. It matters profoundly. It's why it's not like we just love getting up at 3 or 4 in the morning doing this every single day. Like, we do it because we love it.
You do it so you can get awards like this, so you can pat yourself on the back for, look how great I am. I get up at 3 in the morning. Do you know how hard it is to get up at 3 in the morning and make phone calls? This motherfucker's not out there beating the street, wearing out his shoe leather. He picks up a phone and goes, have you heard anything? Or more accurately, people call him with tips and he follows up on it. Do you know how hard that is? I made 4 phone calls today. I broke a nail. I don't do it because I love it. I do it because I love it. That's his argument here. We don't do it because we love getting up at 3 in the morning.
We do it because it matters. The work that we do matters.
The work you do should matter. The problem is it doesn't, because it's ideological bullshit. You have it in the wrong way of thinking it matters. This goes to the advocacy thing I was talking about. What we do matters. How? You're the motherfuckers who were telling us that Joe Biden was fine, and those of us who called out in 2019 that he clearly had dementia, we were conspiracy theorists. You're on the show Morning Joe. Now they're watching a video, but he is there, and they're on their monitor there, live on location. You're sitting with a man who called Joe Biden the most cogent he'd ever been weeks before the fucking debate, where we all saw him just melt down. Yeah, it does matter. What matters is that you're a bunch of fucking liars. You don't speak truth to power. You speak truth to, and you don't even do that. You speak dishonesty to people you don't like. You lie constantly.
Everything we do.
Oh, wait, this is the best part. For those of you who haven't seen this yet, this is the best part.
Is under fire. Elon Musk sits on Twitter every day, or X today, saying like, we are the media. You are the media. My message to Elon Musk is bullshit. You're not the media. You having
this is just statistics, and remember, there's lies in statistics, but statistics show that most people get their news from Twitter. And again, it's people going to read, MSNBC or CNN or whatever from links on Twitter, but they're going there to get their media. Temper tantrum. Oh, Eagle, it's so fucking glorious. Thank you, Dangerous. One of the first things I learned at university was the various forms of journalism. When the lecturer said activist journalism, I immediately thought that's a contradiction. I hate that shit. It's absolutely a contradiction. You can get out there and be like, I want to highlight this, and technically that is, but you still need to tell the truth when you're doing it. And you run into this problem is that the truth doesn't always get the viewership, right? Because it's boring. Like nobody wants to hear the dry statistics. That's why they teach people like you have to personalize the story. Go find somebody who's been affected by this policy. Evolved Potato, thank you. Personally, with all this stuff we've learned about journalists making shit up and taking stuff grossly out of context, you should at least have some question about older stories like Watergate and others. Yeah, the Watergate story, I mean, if that happened today, it would be no big deal. And again, Nixon's big problem with Watergate, what got him in so much trouble, he didn't even know about the break-in until afterwards. There's no indication that he knew about it until afterwards. It was the cover-up. And he's part of the reason that we use the phrasing, it's not the crime, it's the cover-up that gets you. Watergate was dumb. It was a dumb story. What got Nixon was the lie. Yeah. They should have just been like, yeah, a couple of dumbass advocates. They weren't even directly related to the campaign. They broke into the Watergate Hotel to try to get information on the Democrats, and because the Democrats had an office there. And instead of just going, yeah, these idiots got caught breaking in, trying to help us out, but they were wrong, which is what they should have done. Instead, they're like, we don't know anything. What? Who? G. Gordon Liddy. Is that a brand of paste? What? It's amazing how many stories just from the recent past, even before, social media, we can look at and go, yeah, that was bullshit. That was nonsense. But we never talk about it. Look at how many stories have we seen? The first story that I know of where the UN climate panel gives us 10 years until the end of the world, there's no going back, was back in 1989. How many of these fuckers have acknowledged how wrong it's now been pushed back to 2030, by the way. And don't worry, it'll be pushed back further because it's bullshit. And all they're doing is keeping people scared. Luckily, we always avert the crisis. Not this time, though. This is the final time. The media reported on that without an ounce of critical thinking. And then you get the hide the decline stuff where somebody breaks into the email servers and finds these scientists lying and saying, hey, what we're going to do is lie to the public because if they see this information, they're going to think we're stupid and wrong. And how did the media treat that? Like, can you believe these people broke in and stole these emails? That is an affront to God himself. Forget the fucking lying scientists. That was no big deal. Nothing to see here. When NOAA changes, like, we've been misreading our satellite data for 20 years. Where was the critical media shit on that? Where was one goddamn journalist who went, wait a minute, you expect me to believe you now when you just told us you misread shit for 20 years? The media has an agenda, and that is their problem. If they just reported the news, it'd be impossible for me to, rip on them and point out what shitbag liars they are all the time. Because in its purest form, news is truth. This is what happened. Today, there was a house fire on Elm Street. There's no good way to, lie about that. Like, it was a goblin who set a fire, because the news is dry. It's dry. It's X happened. Maybe you get a Y. It's the who, what, when, where, why. Sometimes how. How doesn't always matter. But that's what it's supposed to be. And these fucking lying shitbags get mad when we point out how many stories, guys, based on just their reporting, where I will pull up one of their stories, read through it, and tell you where they are lying to you and where the bullshit is. Not from looking at anything else, just in their own stories. And told you that they were lying, and then they had to come out and be like, we got that a little bit wrong. Too many to count. Yeah, because it's not that hard. It's so fucking obvious. But how dare Elon Musk say that he's the media now? Elon's wrong. I'm the media now, motherfucker.
You having a blue check mark, a Twitter handle, and 300 words of cleverness doesn't make you a reporter any more than me looking at your head and seeing that you have a brain and telling you I have an awesome set of tools makes me a damn neurosurgeon.
Nope. That is it. Why are you guys so bad at analogies? You're a fucking writer. Aren't you a journalist? All right, let's look at this. If you make a story, right, and I report on your story, I am a reporter. It might be you're going out there doing the hard work of making phone calls. But if I'm reporting on what you reported on, that's a reporter. Now, if you cut into somebody's brain and did brain surgery and called yourself a neurosurgeon, then you might have a closer analogy there. But just going, you have a head, so I'm a brain surgeon. That is you wrote this speech. This isn't off the cuff. You thought about that analogy and went with it. It doesn't make any sense. You're talking how these people reporting on what reporters are doing. They're not reporters. That doesn't make you. The people reporting on it. I'm going to keep saying that because fuck you. Yeah, they're reporting on what we're doing. That doesn't make them a reporter. Well, what makes a reporter, homie? What makes a reporter? Is it going to journalism school? Because there's a lot of reporters who never went to journalism, never went to school for journalism. Dangerous, thank you. To second what you're saying, I love the actual journalism process. I enjoy the purity of telling the story how it happened. But the point of journalism is not being practiced by journalists. No, it's not. No, it's not. We went to college so we can do neurosurgery. It's such a bad analogy. Hey, you people who are literally reporting, that's not reporting, because I have this dumbass analogy about brain surgery and looking at your head.
Right? Like what we do, what journalists do, what you did in Mississippi, what Al Jazeera does in the Middle East. You don't proclaim yourself to be a reporter.
Isn't that what you just did? We get up at 3 a.m. We're like the Dunkin' Donuts guy. We got a time to make the news. I'm not proclaiming myself a reporter. I'm telling you that I report on what you do. That's what makes me a reporter.
Like, that's nonsense. Like, being a reporter's hard.
No,
really hard.
Not.
You have to care.
No, you don't. In fact, if you don't care, it's probably better. Because if you don't care, there's no real reason for you to interject your own bullshit. The most autistic person in the world's probably the best one to write actual stories, because they're just like, I don't care about this. This is what happened.
You have to do the hard work. You have to get up every single day and say, I want to get to the closest approximation of the truth.
I want to watch that again.
You have to get up every single day and say, I want to get to the closest approximation of the truth.
The closest, no. You should be getting up saying, I want to get to the truth. And this is the part that bugs me about this shit, is that we can read their articles. Hell, we just talked about it yesterday. Let's do this part of it too. A couple of years ago, in the middle of Lords of the Night, a story breaks. A story breaks about a young man in Chicago who got beat up because of his race and his sexual preference. And the media blew up. They blew up, and everybody's like, can you believe this racist shit happened? Look how homophobic this is. Look how horrible all of this is. And of course, the Jussie Smollett story, the Juicy Smollett. Let's go over that again, because I don't remember what channel we were on, but if somebody can find it, it should be easy to find date-wise, but go back to when this story was originally said, when it first comes out. Again, we're live on the air when this story breaks, and Scribe reads the story. And you'll catch me going, I'm having trouble believing that. I have trouble believing that, because here's what we knew at that point. Didn't you call it a lie on it? Yes, I did. At that point, we knew that the actual temperature was like 12 below, but with the wind chill, it was like 40 below. That was enough for me to call it bullshit right there. Chaos One, thank you. Haven't seen you in a while. Speak apparition. I am. Thank you for the donation. Hope you've been well. The wind chill, I don't know if you guys have been in Chicago or you've been anywhere where the wind chill shifts the temperature 18 to 30 degrees. Because again, depending on which source you looked at, depends on how much it actually shifted. But a wind like that burns. It absolutely burns. So if you go outside in it, you get wrapped up. You put a scarf on. You're wearing a hat that covers your ears. You are so bundled that unless somebody knows your coat, like you see them every day, like, hey, Jim, and because you guys are walking to the office together or something, nobody's going to recognize you. Thank you, Keldrig. The closest approximation of truth? No, motherfucker. It should just be the truth. True. And this is why I like the Smollett story, because it so shows how bad the reporting is and how bad they are at their job of the closest approximation of the truth. 2:00 in the morning, Jussie Smollett says he goes out for Subway in a polar vortex where it's minus 40 with the wind chill. For Subway. I wouldn't go out for Subway at 2:00 in the morning on a nice summer night. I'm like, nah, I'll get some in the morning, maybe tomorrow. It's 2:00. Fuck that. But there are some people who do. I mean, drunks got to eat, right? But he runs into two guys who from across the way can see him very well, to the point that they know who he is. This actor that nobody knows the name of really at this point, unless you watched Empire and it was a dying show and they were killing off his character. And they just happen to know he's gay. And they say, there's that, let's call it, there's that iDubbbz word. There's that Negro gay guy. Two people who supposedly hate Black folks and gay people recognized a Black gay actor in minus 40 degree weather at 2:00 in the morning in Chicago and beat him up, poured bleach on him, because that, remember, they poured some substance, we think it's bleach, and put a noose around his neck. They were wandering the streets carrying bleach and a noose. And then, yes, there you go, verifier. And they said to him, this is MAGA country. Nobody in the media, when this story breaks, questioned it at all. Nobody reported on it. Nobody was trying to get to the closest approximation of the truth. They all just went, can you believe what a racist country, what a homophobic country we are? Yes, that's true. Dangerous. A noose he kept around his neck. He kept it around his neck until the police got there so that they could see it, because telling them that it was around his neck would have just been too damn hard. This is MAGA country in Chicago. Yeah, and remember, this is after we've seen, remember, Trump was supposed to have a rally in Chicago back in 2016 that had to be canceled because of the unrest in Chicago and just the mention of him coming. But it was MAGA country. It's 40 below with a wind chill. Again, if you've never been in that kind of wind chill, if it's like 30 below and the wind chill makes it feel like 35, it's not that bad. It's still cold and you need to wrap up, but a wind chill that drops the temperature by 30 degrees, it's just painful. It hurts your skin. There's no way his skin would have been exposed enough for them to have noticed him. And not one of these goddamn hardworking get up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Maybe you should sleep a little longer so your fucking brain works. Maybe if you got a little more sleep till 5, man, you'll be fine. Not one of them questioned it when it first came out. It wasn't until social media started pushing back that somebody went, wait a minute, this seems a little fishy. And even after that, even after it's just quite obvious that it's a bullshit thing. You had people on like MSNBC, where we're going to be with Morning Joe in just a minute, who are like, I still believe Jussie Smollett. That the two black guys hate black people. Sure, that makes sense. Anyway.
Without any fear, without any favoritism.
You're going to make me drop an N-bomb. Bitch, what? Without any favorite. I said on Twitter today that it's good to see the media caring about cabinet picks again, because they're being very critical of everybody that Donald Trump is naming. And that's not bad. They should be critical of it. Critical not in the sense of criticizing, but critical as in taking a critical look at these people. And hey, this is who they are. But where were they for the last 4 years? Where have you guys been? You guys are all out there now talking about inexperience. Not one of you motherfuckers called Pete Buttigieg inexperienced. None of you went after any of Biden's picks, whether it's for his cabinet or his judges that he's put up there. And some of these judges are fucking gross. Some of the we've seen some of the confirmation hearings on this show. These are people who let horrible people out of jail, even sometimes apologize for having to send them to jail. I'm so sorry this is happening to you for touching children. Not a single fucking word from these assholes in the press. You know where you find that stuff? He's going to hate this. Twitter. From folks like me who watch C-SPAN and notice, holy shit, did that asshole really just say that? So, and Rachel Levine is inexperienced. Yes, so much of Biden's cabinet picks, and instead of any of it, I mean, there's no reason for Kamala to be picked as VP. You want to talk about inexperienced? She'd been a senator for what, 2 years at that point? Like, she's totally experienced enough to be the VP in case I die. And what did we get? What did we get? Oh my God, it's so wonderful he picked a woman of color. There was no critical thinking from any of these assholes. But no. They're not biased. They're not. How dare you suggest they're biased? Just because they repeat shit like Trump is Hitler. Because they completely shut out any debate on even what should have been the most uncontroversial parts of COVID. Like, let's see. There's literally a COVID lab 2 miles from where we're saying this broke out. And there's a wet market. Yep, it definitely came from the wet market. And if you say otherwise, you're a bad person and you shouldn't be allowed to speak on social or any other media. These people, oh God. They have no standing for this shit. For him to get up there and be mad and be like, we get up because we got to be unbiased. Fuck you. You're biased piece of shit. You work for Axios, for fuck's sake. You're the CEO of Axios. Go fuck yourself. Q, thank you. I know you're not a tech guy, but a long-term contributor to the C++ standard got booted because he submitted a technical paper titled The Undefined Behavior Question. The same jackass called it anti-Semitic. The word question is hate speech now. I would have to look at what the undefined behavior question is, but I mean, to that point, look what happened to the NASA guy. He was wearing a shirt with women on it that was given to him by a woman, and they're like, he's a sexist. It's a dude who landed a fucking a probe on was it a comet or a meteor? I think it was a comet. This is some amazing shit, an amazing feat. And they're like, can you believe he's wearing it? I don't care if he was wearing a shirt with two women going down on each other. I didn't give a shit. An asteroid, thank you. He probably shouldn't wear that to work. But the one that he was wearing, there was nothing wrong with it. There was nothing wrong with that shirt, and they fucking destroyed him for it. Destroyed him. Dangerous, thank you. The Smollett incident occurred only 11 days after the Nick Sandmann incident. By that time, Sandmann's story had fallen apart. Didn't even occur to them to approach Jesse's story more skeptically. True. And the Sandmann one's even worse because it's all on video. And it was on video by the time the story broke. That's how it gets to the Washington Post, is the video from the Black Hebrew Israelites had already been put up on the internet, and so some people clipped just bits and pieces of it. And the news got a hold of that. And instead of going and finding the full video, they were like, look at this kid smiling menacingly. Anyway, so I've been talking for like 50 minutes, and this has only been going on for 2. I did do the Walmart story first in my own defense.
You don't do that by popping off on Twitter. You don't do that.
No, I get it right more than you do by popping off on Twitter. Go fuck yourself.
By having an opinion. You do it by doing the hard work.
Yeah. Wait. Undefined behavior is a common I thought this okay. I know what undefined behavior is in the computing context. It's a common program term regarding everything that isn't specifically accounted for by the code. Yeah, okay. They called that racist, or what was it they called it? Anti-Semitic. Is it because it has the word question and they say the Jewish question? Fuck these people. Media outlets have become opinion sections. Yes, they absolutely have. All right, so I want to go back because we got to get this full introduction from Joe here to the rest of the segment.
And you do it by doing the hard work.
Phone calls.
Yeah, come on, slow clap, everybody. Whoa. First of all, I've got
the hard work of making phone calls. Give him a clap, y'all. Remember, this guy just got an award, and they've already clapped for him on the show for getting an award, and now they're clapping for him for, lying. But this is what I'm talking about. These people fucking love the accolades. Everybody up there who was just clapping are doing it so that when it's their turn, everybody will clap for them too.
Gotta say, extraordinary content. It needed to be said.
Yeah.
It continues to need to be said. When all of the garbage is flying around on social media, lying about reporters, lying about the hard work they do, lying about the hard work editors do, lying about everything up and down.
What? Lying about you? All right, Joe. You're one of the ones who called Trump a fascist, even though there's none of that. You're the one who called Biden cogent, and who kept saying that anybody who's calling him mentally addled is lying. And there was a dead intern found in your office. Put the tape in, Joe. Right. Look, This is why I was like, oh, we got to watch this. And I have not seen any more than this, just for the record. The rest of this may be very boring, and I might agree with everything. I can't even get through that sentence. I might agree with everything they say. It's not going to happen, but it could. But that part right there, they're lying about us. Joe, all we do is point out who you are, what you say. I use your own goddamn words. I use the words of I was going to call her ugly, and that's not nice. Your cow wife sitting next to you, where she said it's her job to tell me what to think. That's not lying about her. It's telling the truth about what she believes. Donald Trump is trying to tell you what to think, and that's our job. That's the direct fucking quote. That's not me lying about her. That's not me lying about her being biased or being a fucking shitbag. It's her admitting it on your fucking show. And you guys were like, what she really meant to say was to tell you the truth about what's going on. No, the bitch actually said the words. That's our job. You're the one who said Joe Biden was the most cogent he'd ever been in his fucking 80s when we'd already seen the guy unable to speak half the time. We used to have to sit here and try to figure out what the fuck he said. And your bitch ass got up there and went, he has never been more with it than he is now. Did you just not know what cogent meant? Because if you knew what it meant, you were just lying. And for you to sit there now and be like, can you believe they tell these lies about us? Go fuck yourself, man.
About not only their alternative set of facts, but alternative set of facts about what people like you do. And
Hey, Joe, do you have a lab to say that? Do you have a lab? Because that's what you guys said, the alternative sets of facts that you just mentioned. Remember COVID, Joe? If anybody questioning, do you have a lab? These people don't even have a lab. Do they have a lab? What about horse dewormers, shitbag? For a medicine that the guy who's like, we could use this on humans, got a Nobel Prize for, you fucking asshole. And you liars, because of your political bias, tried turning it into horse dewormer. That's all it is. It's just horse dewormer. Do you guys, what was the one before horse dewormer? The one that's the goldfish cleaner. Remember, and the chick killed her husband, and they're like, she did it because Donald Trump said that you could use it to get rid of COVID. Y'all remember that story? That went away quick, didn't it? But they do this shit all the time. And then their alternative set of facts. You mean the real ones, fucker? Hydroxy chlordone. I forget the exact name. Yeah, hydroxy. That's the one. Dangerous, thank you. This dude is going to make you rich tonight. Journalism can take effort, but that does not make it hard work. By the way, Joe, tell us about Trump calling for Liz's execution, or very fine people fuck up. Yeah, the Liz's execution, hydroxychloroquine. That's what it is. Thank you. Joe, we watched them talk about Liz Cheney. Donald Trump called for her to be executed. Except that's not what happened. It's not even close to what happened. He was talking about her going to war because she's a warmonger. He even says, was it warmonger or war hawk that he said? Let her go. Give her a gun and let her stand in front of 9 people shooting at you. And you reported that as her being put in front of a fucking firing squad. Nazi rally. That's another good one, Dead Rabbit. The Nazi rally from the Madison Square Garden. Remember? It's just like the 1930s Nazi rally. Fuck. Go back to one of my favorites of this is the protest at the Capitol here in Michigan during the lockdowns. Do you remember this? They reported it as there being Nazi paraphernalia there because somebody compared Gretchen Whitmer to Hitler. And like, see, they're Nazi supporters. They weren't comparing her to Hitler in a good way. And all you fucking assholes went out there and went, hey, there's Nazis there. You guys took a picture of a guy yelling past the police. There's a famous picture from that from the inside of the Capitol building that day. There were so many people that showed up. They knew these people were coming, and they had a plan to let them into the Capitol and to filter out, which is what they did. The problem is so many people showed up that they didn't have enough room, so there was actually a line. And at one point, there's a guy at the front who's yelling, and it looks like he's yelling at the police if you just glance at it really quickly. But if you pay attention to it, you can see he's clearly yelling past them. And it's because he saw a Democratic lawmaker who he was mad at for some shit that she was doing to him. There was some bill that affected him personally. I forget what it was. But he's yelling at them. And every news outlet, every fucking one of them went out there and went, these are the people who say they support the police. Look how they're treating him. Look at this guy yelling this cop's face. That's how they report this shit. How dare you call me a liar? How dare you question our motives? How dare you have an alternate set of facts that happens to be true? Get fucked, Joe. You're a piece of shit propagandist. It's what you are. You're not a reporter. You're a propagandist.
I love how you connected reporters in Mississippi in the 1960s to reporters fighting for their life to get the story out in the Middle East today. Jim.
I love how you connected the reporters in the 60s to the people that, specifically to Al Jazeera. Is that really the connection you want to make with civil rights reporting? Sure, why not? Yeah. But did you catch it? You catch it? He didn't talk about, the reporting on the hamsters that got loose in the airplane. He didn't talk about that. Everything they do, if you hear them talk, everything, we report on the important stuff. It's just like when we stopped apartheid in Africa, and it's like when we stopped the racism in it's never, yay, we reported on Trump peeing on a bed. They never, it's not you in Mississippi with what you did and us reporting on Donald Trump peeing on a bed, which was a fake story with hookers in Moscow. They never connected to that shit. You guys ever notice that? It's always some big thing, some major thing. Watergate. Again, this all goes back to Watergate for these people. This all goes back, and not just to Watergate, to all the president's men and Robert Redford and how handsome he is and how they were speaking truth to the power of the Nixon administration. We're going to break down the bad guy. Go fuck yourselves.
It was very powerful.
Really? I'm going to say go fuck yourself a lot during this. So if that offends anybody, go fuck yourself.
Good.
Very powerful. Even if even if we had to beep you more than we would if we ran a Dave Chappelle concert,
I
it was
like
still
it,
good.
Jim's mild manner.
Did they beep him at all? Even if we had to beep you, look, go watch the whole thing. It's just him yelling and throwing a fit. It's more of what you just saw. But you got profane in there. You're so good.
He preached it though. The cadence. I mean, I might get him ordained.
Well, let me just say why this is so important right now, more than ever.
Because I'm desperate to keep my job. Let's be honest. That's what this is about. You guys are like, hey, we're totally not biased. Look, this guy said this at an award gala. It's very important. Did you know they're trying to sell our network and I might be fired? Oh, God.
It's because
how dare you, sir? How dare you? How dare me? You know me, nuts. How dare you?
Let me just say why this is so important right now, more than ever, is because critics of the press are feeling more empowered than ever.
Well, the press did this to themselves. They really did. Robert Redford, handsome. I'll take your word for it. Snooch, ask the ladies. I mean, I'm sure there's some they'll be like, no, he's not. Robert Redford is known as a handsome man. And he's not an ugly dude. He's not like Dustin Hoffman. I'm just saying. Dustin Hoffman looks like his parents were probably related, but Robert's a decent looking guy. Not anymore because he's old and we like to pretend that, nuts even said, yes, handsome. We like to pretend that men never age. Men, we do. We get old and ugly. It's more forgiven than it is with women, but yeah, most of us eventually end up looking like a nutsack with eyes, if we're being honest. Q, thank you. So what you're saying is the name of that Nixon story in the 70s was a bit of a gateway drug. No, it was what the gateway drug there was the celebrity press really takes off then. I mean, before then you had some, celebrity to press, but the All the President's Men in the Nixon story and the book All the President's Men and then the movie, it made the media superstars. Woodward and Bernstein to this day get talked about every goddamn election. Woodward drops a book every fucking election, and we have to hear about, look what he said. He talked to some people. And they became superstars, and that really happened with the Watergate thing. Visual media really helped ruin reporting. Not that it was great before then, but it made superstars out of these people.
To lie more than ever. I've had friends for years. Than ever is because critics of the press are feeling more empowered than ever to lie more than ever.
I'm going to go out on a limb right here and say that they're not going to name any of the lies that are supposedly being told about him. No, it's Bernstein that keeps releasing books. Okay, look, you're probably right about that. I swear Woodward just released a book. But anyway, point still stands, even if I got those two retards mixed up. How can you lie more than the press? Purposefully, I guess, would be the only way.
I had friends for years going, I'm so overwhelmed, Joe, by the news. I don't read the news. I go, where do you get your news then? Epic Times. I go,
Oh, God.
You get your news from a website run by Chinese by conspiracy theorists in a Chinese religious cult. That is where you get the no. Or if
how many people do you think Joe knows who get their news from the Epic Times? For the record, I don't read the Epic Times. I've seen some of their stories and they get some things right, and it does seem like a propaganda rag a lot. But that's where he's going, is the Epic Times. Notice he did not address anybody, because what he was just talking about is people lying about him. And then he switches that to people say they don't watch the news, so I ask them where they get their news from, and it's the Epic Times. Okay. Can we get back to that bullshit you were talking about with people lying about you? Where are the lies that were told about you? Tell me Megyn Kelly got to you without telling me Megyn Kelly got to you.
Social media, people lying every day, every hour, every minute about the news. What you do matters.
What lies are they telling? Give me an example. I could give you some. I've seen lies, and I've corrected those people when they do it too. Hell, look, there was a thing going around on the right during the campaign where it seemed like Tim Walz was saying that he was a soldier in Afghanistan, which is not what he said. What he was talking about was when he went to Afghanistan as a congressperson, and the people who reported it without being diligent, yeah, they were wrong. I mean, it is still words that he used, but they were wrong, and I called them out on that shit too. But you haven't provided any lie, supposedly, that these people, all you said is they have alternative facts. Well, which ones? Look, we are probably 40 minutes into my going over this 10-minute video. And I've given you a ton of examples. You guys have even given me some of the media, not just getting a story wrong, lying about it, clearly lying about what happened. Surely Joe can give us one on the other side. And if he does, I'll be like, you're right. They got it wrong. And there's some times where I've seen it where, yes, absolutely just flat out fucking lied. But is that most of it? Is that why you guys are getting pushback because of people lying about you? No, you're getting pushback because of people telling the truth. And I meant to get into this a minute ago. They did this to themselves because Donald Trump insulted the media way back in 2015. Why? Well, because they called him a racist because he said that illegals coming through, that the other countries weren't sending their best. They were sending rapists and murderers. I think it was rapists and murderers. And like, oh my God, Donald Trump thinks all Mexicans are rapists and murderers. And he came out and went, you guys are liars. And you took that personally. You were lying. He was absolutely right that you were lying. And you guys decided to make this a big deal. And all it did is bring more scrutiny because people started paying attention. And if you guys didn't have the whole string of shit, and we didn't even get to all of them. Yeah, very fine people, tall person. Yes, there's another one. They still repeat that shit. Do you remember the Donald Trump called COVID a hoax? Donald Trump, the guy who in his State of the Union speech said that we needed to help China deal with the COVID thing. That's the guy who called it a hoax. They knew damn good and well what he was saying was that them blaming it on him was a hoax. But they all reported Donald Trump. There are 2 different entries in the presidential lie list from Glenn Kessler over at the Washington Post about Donald Trump calling COVID a hoax. They still reported it like that. If you guys didn't lie, then Trump would have looked like an idiot. Because people go, no, what they said is true. But you guys keep lying. Thank you, Dangerous. Here's a thought, Joe. Things like social media and everybody having phones means that the lies that you spew constantly can usually be debunked both quickly and easily. By the way, they often repeat the lies. True, 100%. Him saying they're not sending their best means by definition he thinks there are good people in Mexico. How racist. No, Dangerous. No. That meant he thought they were all rapists. That's how the news reported that shit.
What the New York Times does matters.
It does matter, but not in the way that you think. That they are lying propagandists, bullshit artists, does matter. And what you don't get is why it matters. Because what you should be is just telling the truth, and you don't. You're free to have your opinions on the truth. You're not free to have your own truth.
What the Wall Street Journal does matters. What Jonathan Lemire does matters. What the Financial Times does matters. What NBC...
It does matter because you guys can change hearts and minds and lie to people. And before people know they were lied to, you can get shit changed. You can get stuff like DEI pushed through into companies that never should have done it because it's racist and sexist. Dead Rabbit says, why are you yelling, Joe? Joe is also very mad because these guys are liars and propagandists. Look, I don't like being called a liar, but if I did lie and you call me a liar, I don't get mad about it. I get mad about being called a liar when I didn't lie. When I didn't lie, I get mad. Joe's mad at being called a liar when he's absolutely been a liar over and over and over again.
News and MSNBC reporters do matters. It matters.
That's not a question, Joe.
And it doesn't mean there aren't things that we get wrong. And
no, stop. Fuck you. If you just got something wrong, no big deal. No big deal. How many of you in the media repeated the bloodbath line? Notice we haven't had to go back to any of the ones we've already discussed. I can just keep giving you new ones. How many of you reported that Donald Trump said that if he wins, there's going to be a bloodbath without ever once mentioning that he was talking about the auto industry and how it would be destroyed if he's not elected because Biden would just let the Chinese take over the market? You never admit mistakes willingly. They don't even admit mistakes. They're like, half the time they stealth edit that shit and pretend they never said it. The few times times that they do come out and go, yeah, we made a mistake there, it's always followed up with, but that guy's still an asshole.
And the reason I guess I was hopped up at that speech was I listened to so many reporters who feel like the industry's going to hell. Nobody trusts them. They're demoralized. And the truth is, we don't have time to be demoralized. We don't have time to whine. We have to do our job. Like there is.
If you did your job, they wouldn't be demoralized because there wouldn't be people like me out here pointing out that you're a bunch of lying assholes. Notice that he didn't say that he listened to any of the criticism. I talked to all these reporters who say they're demoralized because nobody trusts them. Did you say to them, hey, maybe be trustworthy and they'll trust you? Dangerous, thank you. Oh, fucking hell. What the New York Times does matter, what the Wall Street Journal does matter. New York Times got awarded for its Russia collusion story that was bullshit. The Wall Street Journal fact-checked burgers a mile high. Yes, it matters. Again, it does matter, just not in the way he thinks it does. Because it matters to why they're not trusted. It matters to why they're not trusted. But they don't get that. They do not understand that because they are better than us. They are smarter than us. They have the real facts. Do you remember Chris Cuomo coming out and telling us that he could look at stuff we can't look at? As a reporter, we can look at this information. Oh, you guys can't, which is absolutely bullshit. It's literally bullshit. There's no special protections for the press being allowed to go out there and look at shit you can't look at. Thank you, Evolved Potato. This douche calling Falun Gong the religion of the founders of the Epoch Times a cult is just Chinese propaganda. For those who don't know, they founded the Epoch Times to rebuff the lies about them after China tried to genocide them. Yeah, I don't know anything about that whole thing. But it is funny to me that they praise the cheering of Al Jazeera while knocking down the New York, the Epoch Times. Like, no, Al Jazeera, the people who support terrorists.
Is a information war out there, and there's still tens of millions of people that depend on great reporting, and it's our job to make sure we create viable businesses around it and that we really do try to get to the closest approximation of the truth.
No, the truth. That's what the closest approximation. No, it is our job to get to the truth. And look, sometimes you can't know the truth right away. Like, hey, this is what we do know. And then that's what you say. We don't know everything. This is what we do know. And then later when you get more, all right, this is what we know now. The problem is that's not what you guys do. You take half-truths. You take what little information you have and you make a whole story about it. Half the time, not even based on anything. You see a tweet, and it's amazing how many news stories contain tweets these days. It's been going on for a couple of years now. But you guys take something like Nick Sandmann smiling. Oh, I just reused one. Nick Sandmann smiling menacingly, and you just all run with it. And then when the truth comes out, how many of you wrote big stories and pushed how much you got that wrong? How many? You guys made little tiny, yeah, we kind of fucked that up, and just went on with your lives.
Maybe do a little bit, maybe be more curious than condescending, maybe a little more fearless than foaming at the mouth. And I think if we can do those things, I think we can win back people who are skeptical and great reporting. And it's our job to make sure we create viable businesses around it and that we really do try to get to the closest approximation of the truth.
Okay.
Maybe do a little bit, maybe be more curious than condescending.
You guys do excellent work, and it's not fair what people say about you, but maybe you should be more curious than condescending. In your reporting, how exactly are you being condescending in your closest approximation to the truth? How do you accurately report condescendingly? I am a condescending, I'm being condescending as fuck right now. And I am being honest about it, but I'm being honest. You guys, you're not curious at all. You're only interested in the condescension. Do you have a lab? Do you guys remember that shit? Do you have your own? Do you remember when they actually came out and like doing your own research is racist? It's stupid. How dare you do your own research? It's literally the Mika Brzezinski thing. It's our job to tell you what to think. How dare you? How dare you do your own research? Fuck, dude. All right, but wait.
Maybe a little more fearless than foaming at the mouth.
See my previous response. Just insert foaming at the mouth instead of condescending.
And I think if we can do those things, I think we can win back people who are skeptical.
If you can be less condescending and less foaming at doesn't that speak volumes about your profession, sir? Don't you understand why maybe people don't like you? Why they think, oh, fuck. Self-reflection, not his strong suit.
The entire social media ecosystem, a lot of the things you just mentioned, they feed off of all of us.
No, stop. All those things you just mentioned about the social media ecosystem. Your reporter, what did he just say about it? Other than they're mean to us, they tell lies about us. What specific did he give about that? The only specific thing he said was that his friends were reading the Epic Times. That's it. So let's listen again.
Social media ecosystem, a lot of the things you just mentioned, they feed off of
a lot of the things you just mentioned. Literally all he mentioned, they lied about us. They lied. He didn't name a single one. He didn't name a single thing from social media that you can point to and go, those things you just named. Because he didn't name anything. The fuck are you talking about? This is the problem. You're in real time pulling this bullshit. It is just so ingrained into who you are that you can't even help it. I'm actually getting so worked up here. My back is hurting. I don't know if you guys know this. I've mentioned it before, but to newer folks, I talk with my hands. Even when I'm doing the show, I'm talking with my hands right now. I look like I'm conducting a fucking orchestra up here. God damn, dude. This is who you are. This is your very essence, is being a bullshit artist. All those things you just mentioned about the social media ecosystem. Name one thing that he actually mentioned specifically. I dare you.
Of all of us trying to get to the closest approximation of truth. So people just like,
okay. Even if I did trust you, I just have to say this. Even if I did trust you, let's say I trust somebody implicitly, my wife, right? And my wife is like, I'm going to be, I want to be straight with you. So I'm going to tell you the closest approximation of the truth. I'm going to tell you as close as I can get to the truth without telling you the truth. I would be like, yeah, I'm not going to believe anything you're about to say. Sorry. You are way too hung up on closest approximation of the truth for me to believe that you are looking for truth. Thank you, Dark Conservatarian. Closest approximation of truth. Why not just simply closest to the truth? What Kamala-style mouth diarrhea cringe is this? Well, Dark, thank you for the donation. This is called hedging. See, this way he can't say that I try to get to the truth because that's not what he said. So if you call him a liar, hey, I didn't say I was going to tell you the truth. I told you I'd tell you the closest approximation to the truth. I just love the word approximation in there. The closest thing that's kind of like truth. Do you just not know what the word approximation means? It means not. That's what it is. The closest approximation to milk isn't milk. That would just be milk. It would be a milk-like substance that's not milk. Oh my God. You're a fucking reporter. I assume you took English classes in college. I'm a dropout, bitch. I'm going to tell you something that kind of truth like. This is vegan truth. This is just insane, man. Like fish juice, yes. There's a new thing. Now, a lot of people that seem to reply to this think it's happening in America. It's not. It's happening overseas where they have a severe shortage of milk. So what they've done is they've taken fish and they've ground them up into a powder, and then they mix it with some sugar and chocolate or strawberry, and then put water into it, and they call it fish milk. That is not fish milk. That is fish juice. It's not milk. Red Caster, thank you. Monkey has the closest approximation to good taste in food. Fair. Although I think we probably agree on the fish juice.
Like, I think they need to calm down. I know there's a lot of your viewers who kind of wish that sometimes everything was just like boom, boom, boom on one side. But like, we have to bring.
It's exactly what it is. Oh, fuck you.
They feed off of all of us trying to get to the closest approximation of truth. So people just I think they need to calm down. I know there's a lot of your viewers who kind of wish that sometimes everything was just like boom, boom, boom on one side. But like,
show me on the show that you're on right now where it's not that way. Please. I'm willing to learn. Look, I've seen that Joe, we went and met with Donald Trump and we're actually going to talk to him again. The fact that they refuse to talk to him tells you all you really need to know. The ex-president, hey, I want to talk. And like, go fuck yourself. You're a meanie pants. I know your folks want to be boom, boom. That's literally what MSNBC is, and it's why it's dying. It's why NBC's like, yeah, we got to cut this shit loose.
We have to bring people facts. We have to bring people clarity and hopefully report it.
You should, but you don't.
Insight so they can ultimately make better decisions and understand people boom, boom, boom on one side. But like, we have to bring people facts. We have to bring people clarity and hopefully report.
You just bring facts, the actual facts. That'll bring clarity. That's the old Fox News motto, and they weren't necessarily great at this, but we report, you decide. That's how it should be. That's how all reporting should be. Not the punditry part of it. I'm not talking about the 8 to midnight blocks. Although some of those people pretend they're just read, this is what the news said. No, it doesn't. But the actual news reporting part of it should just be, hey, this is what happened. There you go. It's up to you to do the rest. Dangerous, thank you. I'm going to give you the closest approximation to medical care. Yeah, I'm going to go find an actual hospital. Seriously, he is shitting me up the wall with that phrase. Please just tell the fucking truth. Yeah, just tell the truth. We'll get as close to the truth as we possibly can. And look, there's times where you can't get the whole truth, There's redactions in government forms on what they're eating for lunch that day. And you can't give the actual fact on that. But you can guess from the fact that there were rib bones found in the trash that there was ribs served.
Reported insight so they can ultimately make better decisions and understand a very, very complicated world.
By the way,
did you catch that? We need to give them the facts so that they can make better decisions. And Mika's sitting there on the screen. Miss, it's our job to tell you what to think. Did anybody doubt it was propaganda? Did anybody doubt that there was an agenda? What is the major story that just happened? Donald Trump won the election. It's their job to tell you the facts so that you make better decisions. Are you catching it? Are you seeing what they're doing? Oh, they try to hide it. They dress it up in fancy language like closest approximation to the truth. But it is. It's just advocacy. It's what they do.
We've got great viewers. And you know what our viewers are? They're family. Can they come to your house for Christmas? I love my viewers. We're not family. We're friends. No offense, guys. You're not invited to Thanksgiving. We're friends.
We're family. Fuck off with that shit.
We got a family that understands because they've been around. You have a family that follows you that understands because you've been around. The New York Times has a family, Wall Street Journal, these places that have great reporters.
My audience will tell me they think I'm wrong. They will tell me when I am wrong. I've been wrong once or twice. Your audience sucks up to you and refuses to admit that you tell blatant lies. See, they're not looking to bring the truth. I will tell you things that I know you're not going to like me saying because it's what I truly believe. It's the facts as I know and see them. Because I would rather you respect me than you guys to give me accolades for being the greatest Trump supporter ever. Do you know how much better off I'd be doing if I could just do what either right or left-wing media did? If I could come on here and keep myself from calling prominent figures in the right shitbags when they lie, because my integrity matters more to me than you being mad at me. These people don't. No. They don't want you mad at them. Mika actually went on to a podcast. They were shocked. They were totally shocked that their audience was upset at them going to Mar-a-Lago and meeting with Trump. I don't understand why they're like that. She was heartbroken. Matt, oh my God, I can't believe that you guys are like. Well, you've developed a cult. You've developed people who expect to only hear one thing. And when you do bust that up, then yeah, it causes problems. And so what'd you guys do? We're still going to be very mean to Trump, okay? You went out there to get the accolades. Like, no, look, guys, we met with him, but he's a fucking asshole. He's the worst person ever. We confirmed it when we met. We shook hands and my hand burned. That's how evil he is. This is the first year Monk voted for Trump and not Lady Monkey. That is true. Out of the 3 elections I could have voted for Trump, 2 of those votes went to my wife.
Right? They don't need to worry about what happens over the next 5 minutes or the next 5 weeks or the next 5 months because you print truth.
I mean this quite sincerely. I don't know how anybody reads anything from the mainstream media or watches something from them and doesn't immediately fact check it themselves. I honestly don't. That burn was from Ron Perlman's P. Nice callback, Nuts. Very nice callback. Tall person, thank you. And besides lying, the media ignores big stories because bias. How many reported on COVID patients being shipped to nursing homes? Right. They even buried the COVID story in New York because that was the real thing that got Andrew Cuomo out of office. But they couldn't do that because they still had to run with the COVID lie. So what did they do instead? They went with the sexual harassment that wasn't even close to sexual harassment. You gotta go because you took a lady and showed her some really cool artifacts and didn't hit on her or anything at all, but it made her uncomfortable. Their self-importance is amazing. The truth there, Dead Rabbit, is they've always been like this if you pay attention to them. And even ones on the right are very similar to this. I am not important at all. Not outside of my own family and maybe entertainment value. I give you guys facts and stuff that you might not get elsewhere. But I mean, eventually that stuff comes out. I don't look at myself as some kind of hero for this, and these guys really do. And it goes back to the whole Woodward and Bernstein thing. They're superstars, you guys. They made it onto network television. This man in the middle of your screen right there was a congressman. He was a congressman. He's not proud of what he did in Congress. But boy, does he give himself a lot of pats on the back for sitting there and lying to people on a daily basis. Look how important I am. It matters. I matter. They're like Stuart Smollett up here. I'm good enough. And gosh darn it, people like me. It is so self-serving. It is, and more importantly, just bullshit. Surely I'm at least moderately important. We're all important in our own, lives and stuff. But when it comes to the grand scheme of things, listen to how he was talking. The New York Times matters. What the Wall Street Journal does matters. What the Financial Times does matters. If somebody did that to me, if I'm in an, let's say a job interview, and the person who's interviewing for the job is like, I matter. What my mom does matters. What my cat does matters. I would probably actually call the police and be like, yeah, we got a live one here. I'm gonna need y'all to come get them. But these are people who clapped for themselves earlier. First, they clap for him at the opening, right? Because he gets an award. All right, whatever. But then they finish with his talking points, talking about how what they do matters. And they all clapped. And let's be honest of what they were clapping for. They were clapping for themselves. Not just for him saying it. It needed to be said. Well, you have to pay attention to what he was saying. He was saying that Joe Scarborough matters. That Mika Brzezinski matters. That Al Sharpton matters. You're right. I matter. Yay. It's self-serving, arrogant, narcissistic bullshit.
All the time. And like you said, this is what gets me. Is somebody pops off on Twitter or some other social media and they lie. They make mistakes. You know what the cost of that is? Nothing.
Do you know what the cost of that is? Nothing. Do you remember the guy who was telling us that Walls was banging his students? That dude had a pretty big following even before he started with that nonsense, and he had to go away. He disappeared for his lie. It was based basically on the same kind of information that the Russian dossier on Trump had. You remember that, don't you, Joe? How many of your friends and colleagues have had to go away, are no longer in their profession because they spread that lie? How many? How many lies have you told? What was the repercussion to you professionally? I mean, other than people being like, this guy's a fucking liar, so I'm not watching him anymore. Did you get fired for saying Joe Biden wasn't a blithering idiot? That he was the most cogent he'd ever been?
They do it again. In fact, it helps them because algorithms are rigged. So you stir up shit, and you the more you can get people angry, the more followers you get, but also now it's monetized.
Right.
Did I mention self-awareness isn't their strong points? Good morning, baby. I love you. That is worth listening to again. Let's wait for him to cross his arms. There we go. Over on the Streamlabs, let's grab this before we get back into this. I want you to listen to this, right? But instead of picturing social media, just put him in there. Kitty needs to pee. Thank you so much. We can't have a billionaire mogul like Musk owning a media outlet, says the Murdoch Empire-owned outlet. He's on MSNBC here. Who owns NBC? It's not Murdoch. Murdoch owns Fox. I take your point. Don't get me wrong, because they're all owned by fucking billionaires these days. But listen to this rant, and just every time he's talking about social media, replace it with the mainstream media, and listen again.
And like you said, this is what gets me. Is somebody pops off on Twitter or some other social media and they lie. They make mistakes. You know what the cost of that is? Nothing. They do it again. In fact, it helps them because algorithms are rigged. So you stir up shit, and you the more you can get people angry, the more followers you get, but also now it's monetized.
Right.
Hey, Joe, do you do your job for free? Does ratings go up when you spread lies about Trump? We know they do. So I'm just going to answer that for you. They tell lies to get viewers. And what does that do? The more viewers you have, it brings in more advertising. You're in a business that has been monetized forever. Being wrong is not a bad thing once you double down, or once you don't double down after. No, at a certain point, being wrong is a bad thing. This is something that I've mentioned before because it drives me nuts. Like, well, at least they admitted their mistake. Yeah, once or twice, getting shit wrong. Yeah, we fucked up there. But some people make a living out of that. Some people like, yeah, I fucked up everything I've ever said, but I've apologized for it. And people are like, well, at least he apologized. That shows character. No, showing character would be doing the due diligence not to get it wrong in the first place.
To help you lie.
The more you hate, the more you make.
Yeah, there you go.
Mika being accidentally honest again. The more you hate, the more you make. Actually, if you pay attention to the largest accounts, they're far less hateful than some of the smaller ones. Look, just the other day, I saw somebody issuing a death threat, an actual death threat on Twitter. They didn't blow up and make a shit ton of money out of it. They got kicked off the platform. The more you hate, no. And people who fuck up really bad, they pay for it. They actually do. They will lose their audience in a heartbeat. You can't be out there telling people I'm gonna be the one who tells you the truth and then be caught lying. It's one thing to get something wrong, and this is another thing we really have to parse here, because if they lie, if they get something wrong, did you see how they always do that in the press? Because they never lie. See, they just get stuff wrong. The fact that they tell blatant lies, pay no attention to that. We just got it wrong. Dangerous, thank you. You need to give them the facts so they can make better decisions. No, you give them the facts and they will make whatever decisions they make. Trying to influence behavior and be factual is impossible. I disagree with you a little bit on that, but it's whether you're talking about the context of news or whether you're talking about the context of punditry. I'm not going to lie to you. I try to influence your behavior. I'm trying right now to influence you to understand that these people are a bunch of fucking shitbags and that they shouldn't be trusted. And I'm doing it with factual information. So I do get what you're getting at. If I was just reporting the news, I would say, here's a lie he told, and that would be the end of the show. I do think it makes a difference whether you're talking about punditry or news. Did anyone actually read Project 2025? I thought it was a meme. I didn't read it, and I have no intention of reading it. It's a policy proposal by the Libertarian Party. The Heritage Foundation is the one who put it out. Is Heritage Libertarian? No, is that Cato? Fuck, I don't remember. But anyway, it's from the Heritage Foundation, and it's what they want to happen. And because there's a couple of things in there that the left really hates, they tried to put it onto Trump. So I don't really care about it. I already know a lot of what people think. And if there was a specific person that you pointed to and like, this is what they believe, I'd read what they said and go, yeah, that's what they believe.
Go. I like hey, Rev, did you preach for your next weekend?
That'll go viral.
I like that. But Jim, here's the deal that I explained to my friends that go into the gutter and get disinformation. I say,
my friends that go into the gutter and get disinformation. All right.
There's no cost for them lying to you. But
where's the cost for you lying to me, Joe? I will admit that there are people who get away with lying. Cat Turd's huge over there on Twitter, and the reason he blocked me is for me pointing out he was wrong. And when he tried bullshitting his way out of it. I pointed out that he was still wrong, which at that point, when you've been told you're wrong and given evidence and you keep telling that same story, then you're just lying. So there are people who do it. But Joe, I'm sorry, Pot, have you met the kettle?
Jim Vandehei has a reporter that gets it wrong. Well, they're editors. If the New York Times gets something wrong or the Wall Street Journal reporters get something wrong, they're editor after editor after editor after editor, and they check it and they make sure it's right. They make sure it's doubling.
What point are you trying to make here? I'm very curious, because in the last hour or so, we've pointed out at least a dozen stories you guys have gotten wrong or repeatedly lied about. The Very Fine People hoax, the Russian dossier to begin with. So many things that you guys have told the same lies over and over and over. And you're making the point that those lies were checked over and over by editors who allowed them to be printed or said. So again, if anybody can tell me what point do you think you're making there? I'm so curious. Remember, it was editors that approved the Dan Rather story about George Bush getting preferential treatment in the military, and it was the internet that caught that story was bullshit, because the fucking font that was used in this supposed letter didn't exist in the military at the time. It wasn't any of the editors who caught that. One might say it was a citizen journalist. It's all cope there because they're losing their jobs and will never find another one. Oh no, some of these guys absolutely will. Fuck, they'll start their own stuff. Look what's happening with Chris Wallace. He sold his soul to the left and gets hired by CNN, gets fucked immediately because the new boss over there is like, yeah, the CNN shit, the CNN Plus stuff, we're not doing that. And so he just becomes a contributor over there. And now he's like, I'm going to go do what all these people like Joe Scarborough would call assholes are doing with my own podcast. It's amazing how many of these self-congratulatory shitbags, when stuff doesn't work out their way, they're like, hey, let's go do a podcast. I guarantee you if Morning Joe got shut down right now, Mika and Joe would start their own Megyn Kelly style podcast.
And triple sourced, and still sometimes they get it wrong.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I was pointing out earlier. The media never lies. Notice that? We get it wrong. This is why when he was mentioning the people who lie on Twitter, he also or get it wrong. Because look, not everybody who gets it wrong is lying. The Very Fine hoax thing, or Very Fine People hoax, shows you guys are liars. You're just liars. You went on, you specifically, Joe, not long ago, and called Donald Trump a liar for saying FEMA was skipping Trump houses. Do you remember that? You called the man a liar. You didn't go check. You didn't do any due diligence. Your editors didn't jump in there and go, whoa, we should really go check this out and make sure before we besmirch this man as a liar. Instead, you went to your audience and called him a liar, which was a lie. You didn't even bother checking, which is a lie in itself. Because you told people he's lying. He's lying. But you didn't do any due diligence there. Because if you had, you would have broke the story that, oh my God, Donald Trump was right. FEMA is punishing Trump supporters during the aftermath of hurricanes. And you didn't do that. And to my knowledge, you've yet to correct that story when you called him a liar. I wonder if that came up when you were down at Mar-a-Lago. Still don't really trust Megyn Kelly. There's things that Megyn gets wrong, and I not that long ago, right before the election, it's with the Nazi rally there at Madison Square Garden. She comes onto her show and she's like, what Trump did was great, but all the rest of it, all this broing out, that's just going to turn off women. And she went into like immediate feminist mode there. And I pointed out, like, this is why I don't trust women or actually anybody who comes out of mainstream media. And I never will, because there are things that are just so ingrained in them, they can't help it. They just can't help it. Yeah, anyway.
And so then what happens? They either retract it, or most likely they get sued if they don't retract it, right?
Or they get sued and it gets tossed out, Rachel Maddow, because nobody took that as a real thing. I'm an entertainer. Right? Hey, Joe, I have a challenge for you. Do a show going over every piece of information you've ever given out on your show. Fuck it, not ever. Let's just go back 5 years. Everything that you've gotten wrong in just the last 5 years. I bet you won't have enough time on your 4-hour morning show.
So there are checks and balances there.
Hey, what? You just told us that even with all of those checks and balances, you guys get shit wrong. And this is, and sometimes you have to issue a retraction. This is your answer to, they never face any punishment. Your punishment is, I have to tell the truth. That is your punishment. That is your moment of shame. Oh my God, I had to be truthful. Get fucked.
You don't find in the gutter when you're on social media just following algorithms that lead you to liars.
Give an example.
And it's easy to take one case of something being biased or one case of something being wrong and saying, therefore, everything the New York Times writes or Axios writes is wrong. And
I've told you guys this many times. Not everything they tell you is wrong. And half the time, their lies come from truthful things. For instance, Donald Trump absolutely said it'll be a bloodbath. That is factual. It's the rest of the stuff that went around it that wasn't factual. So fuck right off with this shit.
And what I tell people is just read the Wall Street Journal or Axios or the Financial Times or the New York Times every day.
And for the record, you want to know the easiest way to catch the press in lies? Read the whole story. There was a story out today about how much cheaper Thanksgiving dinner is this year than it was last year. According to this article, you can, and it comes from some farmer's report, I forget what, but you can feed 10 people Thanksgiving dinner for $58 and some change. We'll just call it 59 because I don't remember the change amount. $59. You get $5.90 a person. 10 people. That's how cheap it is this year. Cheaper than a value meal at McDonald's, y'all. Except if you read into the story, a lot of major retailers have lowered their prices, for Thanksgiving Day sales. They're trying to bring in customers, so they're taking the hit on their grocery items. Specifically Walmart and Aldi's and I think, was it Target that was mentioned in there? All of these places, even Amazon has sales, these massive sales where they're selling stuff at or even below cost, kind of like a Black Friday deal. And if you understand how this stuff works, you lower your prices like that, like, oh, we need to go shopping. Walmart is having a major sale on all of this food stuff that we need right now. So you go in there and you buy that, and then you're walking by. Oh, you know what? Maybe we need some peanut butter too. Maybe we need some chapstick at the register. I'm gonna grab a Coke too while I'm here. It's to get people into the stores, and they're going off of prices that have been purposefully reduced to get more shoppers into the store. Not that the overall price of this shit has come down. As soon as the sales are over, the prices are spiking right back up. The Logical Male, thank you. Speaking of Megyn Kelly, did you see she was doing an awkward pose mocking Mika Brzezinski by laying on the table and lifting one leg? I did not. I don't know if I even want to see that. They do tell the truth. You have to pick through the lie fest. A lot of times when you're reading the stories, you'll get to the very bottom, and that's where the truth lies. The rest of it is nonsense. Where they'll look at the stories about all the horrible abortion things that have gone on. Like she died because they wouldn't give her any kind of care. And then you read the full story and you find out that there was nothing in the law that said she couldn't, but that's how it's presented in the headline. Woman dies because of Georgia abortion ban. And then you get down to the bottom and like, there's nothing in the ban that says you can't do this. But doctors were worried, so they didn't do anything. There's truth in their reporting, but their reporting is not truthful. Those are two entirely different things.
And use your own eyes. Do you feel like they're trying to get to the closest approximation of the truth?
Jesus, fuck you, and that's it. Do you feel like they're trying to get to the... Well, I mean, by your standard, yes. Honestly, I do. Even the ones who are directly lying on social media, I think they're trying to get to the closest approximation of the truth. Absolutely. 100%.
With every story, and that most of the time, if not almost all of the time, they do. If they do, then you can trust it as a news source. It doesn't mean you can't give yourself time to go get riled up because you have ideological views or other passions. But if you take away...
All right. And I do mean this sincerely. My passion in this matter is the truth. That's it. I just want the truth. And you want the closest approximation of the truth. We're different people. I am not willing to be like, yes, since they're trying to get to the truth-like substance, I'm going to trust them. Did you see Joe and Mika's Vanity Fair picture? I didn't. Joe, stop trying to do the Reagan thing with your hair. Nobody believes you're a Reaganite.
Away truth and you take away reported truth or common facts from the equation, I honestly believe the whole damn American experiment goes under. You might love or hate a free press, but there is a reason that this democracy, this country has thrived in a way that none. Did
you catch that? The whole reason the country exists is because of free press. And Mika, that's part of it. Mm-hmm. And that little self-important nod she did. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Monk, you can't handle the truth. This is a complete aside. Some poet, I don't know who he is, was like, I'm trying to get to the inauguration so I can read poetry up there on the inauguration because the left does it and they don't own poetry. And in his bio, it says, truth is beauty. Truth is not beauty. Truth is ugly as shit. It's ugly. But it's what you need. And no, I do not want, just because those fucking idiots on the left think poetry actually means something past middle school. No, do not put that on the inauguration. Please, God, it's bad enough when the Democrats do it. Gentlemen, if you're in high school and listening to this, one, you shouldn't be because it's for adults. But on the off chance somebody plays this for you, if you meet a chick and she tells you, I write poetry, but I don't let anybody read it, the correct answer is, oh, let me read it. And then be like, oh, that's pretty good. But we all know it's shit. We all know it's crap. We all know it's garbage. But we lie to women because they want us to, and that is the right thing to do in that situation. And I know I just said truth. You should be truthful. But I'm trying to help you with the ladies, and they want to be lied to about their bullshit poetry about how death is reaching for me. And I feel the cold embrace of nachos and tacos from the other day when Raul told me my eyes sparkled like I don't even know. Poetry shit. Poetry's for people who can't write prose.
Others have, and I believe and will forever believe that a free press sits at the center of that, and that sometimes reality is reality and facts are facts.
It is. You know,
sometimes wait, he did not just say that.
And that sometimes reality is reality and facts are facts.
Sometimes reality is reality. Sometimes facts are facts. Sometimes. Guess we got to the bottom of that whole closest approximation to the truth. Fuck.
Free press sits at the center of that, and that sometimes reality is reality and facts are facts.
Wow. Hey, Dick knows. What is reality and facts the rest of the time? I can't believe he just said those words. I mean, I shouldn't be surprised because it's literally what they believe, that facts aren't always facts. That's why you can't do your own research. Dangerous, thank you so much. Do you want answers? I think I'm entitled to them. Do you want answers? I want the closest approximation to the truth. You can't handle the closest approximation to the truth. That would have been such a better scene. Well played, Dangerous. Thank you.
It is. You know, Jim, this weekend, the second greatest thing to come out of Wisconsin. The first I saw a castle in Wisconsin made completely of cheese. But after that,
I get that he's trying to be funny here, but you just reported that your own job is less important than a castle made out of cheese. And for the first time during this broadcast, I agree with you wholeheartedly.
Good.
Jim Vandehei.
Yes.
Number
job.
2. And you know what I always say is to my friends who say, I don't trust the press anymore because they've been listening to Donald Trump.
You already told us that what you always say to your friends is, well, where do you get your news from? So I guess this is going to be one of those facts that isn't a fact because you're going to say something different. Because remember, that's how we got to the Epic Times a little bit ago. Closest approximation of the truth. Thank you so much. I'm still waiting for Donald Trump to condemn white supremacy today. Indeed. It's like they don't even hear themselves.
Undermine the press and Elon Musk and everybody else. I go, you know what? Murdoch owns the Wall Street Journal. Read the Wall Street. You don't want to read the New York Times? I'll read it for you. You read the Wall Street Journal. That's a Murdoch paper. Look at their reporting. I mean, so if people think that Rupert Murdoch's Wall Street Journal is like a left-wing pro-deep state newspaper,
it is. It didn't used to be. The Wall Street Journal used to be a rather conservative news outlet. And we've seen what's happened to them. And I don't blame Murdoch for it at all. Murdoch is not involved in the day-to-day editorial decisions at the fucking Wall Street Journal. Most of what has caused the downfall in the Wall Street Journal is us, YouTube. They are so horribly pissed off at social media. And these guys are doing the same thing now. That, they get very partisan really quick.
They're beyond help. I mean, it's like at some point, people have to want to know the truth. And if they don't want to know the truth, well, then go ahead and walk around ignorant. But again, if you won't even look at the Wall Street Journal,
right,
then there's a problem.
I encourage you to read as many news sources as you have time in your day and gag reflex to handle. but don't trust them. Verify. Not even the Ronald Reagan trust but verify thing. No. Read and verify, because there's a good chance they're leaving out important parts of the story. Whether it's the Wall Street Journal or the New York Times, weird that they're in the same place. Yeah, they're full of shit a lot. And what they don't tell you is often more important than what they do tell you.
Axios co-founder and CEO Jim Vandehei.
Is she
really
kicking her
quick,
butt?
we've got to go. Go ahead.
There's a movement in this country to teach kids in high schools media literacy, and they can basically navigate this space. It's an important part of the civics education.
Catch that? They're going to teach your kids what to think. I'm all for teaching kids media literacy, but I feel like me and whoever that Digno son of a bitch are have entirely different views on what that is. That's the second time I've called somebody dick nose. I need yeah, I'm sticking with dick nose. You got a dick nose.
Education for sure.
All right, there it is. They are the most important people. They matter. I matter. My mommy told me I matter. Get fucked. Don't trust the media. Read it, because again, I'm not out there pounding the pavement either. I read their shit and get several sources, or pick them apart with their own article. Learn to spot where the lies are. Learn to spot where the loaded language is. Learn to hear the phrase closest approximation of the truth and not giggle as you're giving your response to how fucking stupid it is. But don't avoid it altogether. That's worse, because you need to be able to see what they're saying. You need to be able to know the lies they're telling. And sure, social media has made that much easier. This kind of stuff couldn't have been done back in the 80s. Because we just didn't have the technology to. You had letters to the editor that might be like, hey, you got this wrong about X. We've caught these reporters using footage of missiles being fired from entirely different military engagements and going, look at how horrible this is. Somebody knew they were doing that wrong. They lied to you. And they didn't put up something. This is not because this is the closest approximation of a missile launch that we have. But don't ignore them altogether. Just learn to spot their bullshit. Media literacy is important. I agree with that point. But to what I said yesterday about, education spending, what they're doing with education is not educating our children. It's not teaching them to think. It's literally what Mika said, teaching them what to think. And that's not thinking. That's repeating. Go out there, question all of this shit, because chances are they're lying to you. We went most of the show without having to repeat the lies they've told, and we didn't cover half of the ones that we've gone through on this show over the years. But Joe wants to pretend only every once in a while do they get a story wrong. And it's a mistake. It's just a mistake. We have all these editors and we have checks and balances. It's just a mistake. No, you're a liar. You're a liar. You told the lie about Joe being cogent because you wanted him to beat Donald Trump because you are a partisan shitbag. By that time, many people were already questioning Joe's cognitive ability, and this is before the debate. And so you went out there and told a lie. Most cogent he's ever been. He's in his fucking 80s. That's not even fucking possible. I'm a huge fan of shit. I just lost his name. The black conservative guy. Fuck. I can see his face and I can't think of his name. Shit. Somebody help me in chat. I can see him. Oh, this is Sowell. Thank you, Thomas Sowell. I'm a huge fan of Thomas Sowell, and his writing is great. He gets some stuff wrong or things that I disagree with here and there. But the last time I saw him speak, he clearly lost a step. He's still a smart guy. It takes him longer to get to his point, though, because he's old. He's old as fuck. JB, thank you. Hope day's going well. Puppy broke her leg, so it's going to be a rough next 6 to 8 weeks. Thank God for pet insurance. That's the second time pet insurance has been brought up in the show. Guys, check out pet insurance just in case. I hope puppy recovers quickly. I like Thomas, but I would never tell you he's the most cogent he's ever been, because I trust you guys have eyes, ears, and a brain. But you went out there and told us that this 80, what is he, 82, 84, something like that, most cogent he's ever been, ever. And you did it for political purposes, not for the truth, not because you care about the truth. It wasn't even an attempt at the closest approximation to truth. It was just a fucking lie. And these guys they're shitbags. They are shitbags who believe that we matter, that they have to tell you what to think. And they're mad because Donald Trump was right about them being liars. Absolutely. Bunch of fucking liars, man. And if they'd kept their head down and just kept telling their lies like normal, probably would have got away with it. But instead, they decided to amp that shit up to the nth degree, and damned if they haven't made themselves look even worse. Born in 42, his birthday just passed. Okay, so he's 82. He's an old fucking man. There's no fucking way he was the most cogent ever. That's just a lie you didn't need to tell. You could have said, hey, he's a little bit slower than he used to be. I mean, that'd be a lie too, but at least it'd be more believable than he's at the top of his game. He's never been better, because that's just dumb. I enjoyed watching this. I like watching them in Meltdown. I like watching them whine because they've been called out for being liars. I've been telling you they are since I started this show. I'm glad everybody else is catching on. And I don't blame people for not catching on earlier, because it's conditioning where the news wouldn't lie to me. They're just telling me the truth because that's what you're taught in school. The media just gives you the who, what, when, where, why. That's what reporting is. It's what reporting should be, but it's not what it is. And I'm glad they're getting the backlash. And it is all thanks to Trump, because he's the one that called him out, and the one that they cared called him out. So good on him. And Comrade Kitty, yeah, sorry to hear about your cat, man. That sucks. That really sucks. You guys know how I feel about my kitten. I have so much empathy anytime somebody's pets are harmed, or because I'm a big puss when it comes to pets. I really am. But with that, I'm gonna go see my kitty and my wife, because they're apparently awake now, and we're past the 2-hour mark and the video's over. So love you guys. Take care of yourselves. Thank you for all the support, the donations. You guys are fucking amazing. Love you. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time. Fuck the media. That's the song tonight.